What happened on this electrifying episode of WWE SmackDown is nothing short of groundbreaking, emotional, and absolutely brutal. With the Night of Champions drawing near, the tensions between John Cena and CM Punk finally reached a boiling point. As the broadcast began to wind down, it was clear to everyone watching that something extraordinary was happening. CM Punk had just been laid out in the ring, and the cameras turned to none other than John Cena. The crowd erupted in applause, but what followed would be remembered as one of the most savage and heartfelt promos in recent memory. With CM Punk motionless and struggling on the mat, Cena grabbed the microphone with a look of determination. He wasn't just about to speak to the crowd. He was about to unload years of frustration, rivalry, and personal truth. Cena began his monologue by acknowledging Punk's current condition: beaten, vulnerable, laid out after a confrontation that saw both physical destruction and emotional devastation. Cena didn't hesitate to admit what he felt and what many have suspected for years. He had something personal and deeply real to say, and he wasn't going to be censored or interrupted. He stared down at Punk and said, "As you lay there and you're most uncomfortable, I hope you can listen. I hope you can digest." With those words, Cena signaled that this was more than just another WWE promo. This was a release, a cathartic, soul-bearing speech years in the making. Cena stated that before he walks out of WWE in 6 months with the WWE Championship, he had a lot to get off his chest. Then came a surprising confession. Cena didn't hate CM Punk. In fact, he didn't even dislike him. On the contrary, he respected him. He even liked him more than anyone Punk had ever shared a locker room with. But what Cena couldn't stand was the idea of CM Punk, the myth, the image, the perception that Punk was the best in the world. Cena flat out denied it, claiming the mantle for himself. "I'm the greatest of all time," he said, his voice unwavering. What Cena said next struck a nerve not just with Punk, but with the entire WWE universe. He acknowledged that Punk was indeed better than him at one thing, being a master manipulator, or, as Cena put it, the best bullshitter in the world. That line alone sent shockwaves through the arena, breaking the normal mold of WWE's scripted environment. Cena called out the production team directly, asking them to keep the cameras rolling. "Stu, shoot this," he said, announcing he was breaking the fourth wall. Cena revealed a deeper emotion: jealousy. He admitted he was jealous of Punk's ability to manipulate the crowd, to sell them the fantasy that he was still the same voice of the voiceless he once claimed to be. Cena pointed out that fans still chant for Punk, they still sing his name, and yet he no longer believed a single word Punk said. Why? Because Punk had changed. According to Cena, Punk changed his values as frequently as Cena changed his t-shirts. The harshest words came when Cena accused Punk of being a fraud. He painted Punk not as a rebel or a savior of wrestling, but as an opportunist willing to step on anyone for his own gain. Cena then name-dropped other wrestlers: Claudio Castagnoli, Nick Nemeth, Matt Cardona, signaling to the world that what he was saying was bigger than one rivalry. This was an exposé on Punk's entire identity. The crowd was roaring, the energy electric, as Cena continued his scathing takedown. He pointed out the irony that despite Punk's anti-establishment posturing, he had become everything he claimed to fight against. Punk, Cena declared, was not an outsider anymore. He was the system. "You're not Punk, you're a capitalist," Cena said, drawing attention to Punk's current cushy status in the company. "You're not against TKO, dude. You are Mr. TKO." And then, with venom in his tone, Cena talked about the upcoming showdown in Saudi Arabia at Night of Champions. He mocked Punk's tough talk on social media while exposing the supposed weakness in his real-life actions. According to Cena, Punk had allowed himself to become the very corporate figure he once vowed to destroy. Cena promised that in Saudi Arabia, Punk would have to face the loudest music of his life. That's when Cena would prove to the world, once and for all, that he, not Punk, was the greatest of all time. Cena reflected on his own legacy, mentioning that he's worked tirelessly for 25 years, day in and day out, with no days off. His resume, in his eyes, spoke for itself. Punk's time in the sun, according to Cena, lasted 7 minutes, 14 years ago. The implication was clear. Punk's best days were far behind him. As Cena looked into the camera and addressed Punk directly, he delivered the ultimate challenge. If Punk still believed he was the best after their match, then he was truly living in a fantasy world. Cena punctuated it all with a mockingly cheery, "It's a small world after all," taunting Punk's delusions. Then came Cena's signature closer, flipping the script in classic Cena fashion. "The champ is here." As he walked off, he threw in one last jab, telling the production team to keep the extra airtime. He didn't need a grand finale or fireworks. With a final line, "Elvis has left the motherfudging building," Cena left the ring, mic drop style, and the fans in Grand Rapids were on their feet. Meanwhile, CM Punk was still lying on the mat, physically battered and psychologically humiliated. The commentary team tried to assess the situation. What would Punk's condition be like next week? Could he recover in time for one of the most anticipated title matches in recent memory? Cena's words clearly weighed heavy on the entire arena. There was a sense of finality in what he had said, but also a storm brewing on the horizon. The promo wasn't just a war of words, it was psychological warfare, designed to shatter the confidence of his opponent just days before the biggest match of their current rivalry. But that wasn't all. Commentary reminded viewers of how the night began. What was supposed to be a regular main event featuring Cena versus R-Truth turned into something much more volatile. The match itself was short-lived as Cena unleashed a savage beatdown on both R-Truth and CM Punk. Punk, in a moment of moral courage, tried to come to R-Truth's defense, but paid the price for it. Cena delivered a brutal attitude adjustment to Punk, driving him through a slim gym-branded table and leaving him incapacitated. Then, as the show was wrapping up, Cena took full advantage of the moment. Standing tall over a fallen CM Punk, he not only destroyed his opponent physically, but eviscerated him verbally. This was more than just selling a match. This was personal. Commentators speculated what kind of shape Punk would be in for Night of Champions. Would he be physically able to compete? Would he be emotionally rattled by Cena's scathing words? The match was scheduled for June 28th in Riyadh and was set to stream on Peacock. It wasn't just any match, it was the fight for the undisputed WWE Championship, the most coveted prize in the industry. Adding to the hype of that event was the finale of the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments, making Night of Champions a must-watch for any fan of the WWE. But no doubt, the spotlight will be brightest on Cena and Punk. This rivalry isn't new. It's a decade-plus in the making, dating all the way back to CM Punk's infamous pipe bomb promo delivered 14 years ago, a moment that forever changed professional wrestling. That segment became legendary for its raw honesty, its challenge to the status quo, and